Hello everyone, welcome to another session of physics class. This is Aslam Sharif, your physics faculty who is dealing with paper 6, that is solid state physics. In our previous session, we have discussed about crystal lattice. Let's have a small gist of crystal lattice and how the crystallography is taking place. So as we already know, matter is available in universe in different form or phases. Those are solid, liquid, and gases. Solid can be broadly divided as either crystalline or non-crystalline amorphous. In a crystalline atom are in a crystalline, atoms are arranged in a periodic manner in all three directions, whereas in non-crystalline solid, the arrangement is random. A crystalline solid can either be single crystal or polycrystal. In the case of single crystal, the entire solid consists of only one crystal, whereas in polycrystalline, in an aggregate of many small crystals separated by well-defined boundaries. Non-crystalline substances are called amorphous and they have no directional properties. Therefore, they are called isotropic substances. They do not pose any regular shape and they have wide range of melting points. The study of crystal physics aims to interpret the microscopic properties in terms of microscopic properties. In a solid, if an atom are arranged irregular in three dimensions and the environment of each atom is not same, then it is called amorphous. So let's go ahead with the next topic, that is Bravais lattice, and we'll be covering the element of symmetry, some simple crystal structure, definitions regarding crystal structure, and the last one we will go ahead with unit cell and primitive cell. So let's go ahead with the next one. So Bravais lattice. Basically, crystal lattice are classified in two types. That is Bravais lattice and non-Bravais lattice. Bravais lattice named after its discoverer Auguste Bravais. In cubic system, there are three Bravais lattice: simple or primitive cube, base center cube, or body center cube. So here, let's see what is Bravais lattice and what is non-Bravais lattice. So Bravais lattice, you can see on the screen, all the atoms are of same kind. Let us take an example of sodium. So if we are assuming these red dots are representing the sodium atom, they are equidistant from one point to another, that is from first to second. Let us assume that is half centimeter, and the distance between second point to third is also an half centimeter. So as with third to fourth, fourth to fifth, etc. Continuously it is going on. So all lattice point are here equidistant. So that is the reason we are saying that all atoms are of same kind and the lattice points are equidistant. Whereas in non-Bravais lattice, let us take the example of sodium chloride. Let us say all the red dots here presents are sodium and the one which is glowing we are calling as a chloride atom. So atom can be of different kind. As you can see in the diagram, this sodium is represented with the red one and the chloride are the glowing one. So some lattice point are not equivalent. As we are finding in the diagram, the red one and the glowing one, they are not equally distant from one another. So we will be taking the same example to conclude that some lattice point in non-Bravais are not equivalent. So the combination of two or more Bravais lattice can also be possible. Let us see the types of crystal lattice. In Bravais lattice, if an infinite array of discrete point with an arrangement and orientation appear exactly the same, then it is said to be Bravais lattice. So if you see the example, let us take the example which is shown here in the diagram. We are having a small cubic structure. So if we see from the left side, we will finding the same cubic structure. If we see from the right side, we are finding the same structure from the up and down as well. That is the reason we are saying an infinite array of discrete point. It can be anywhere. So having an arrangement and orientation that appear exactly the same. So if you see in the space on left, right, any side, if you wish to, you will find the same way the pattern is closed. So from wherever the point the array is viewed, the lattice is invariant in translation. So we are finding here the another example of NB film. So let's go ahead with the non-Bravais lattice. So non-Bravais lattice, not only the arrangement, but also the orientation must appear exactly the same from where point in a Bravais lattice. So here, let us take the example of honeycomb. Here you can find the two red dots and one blue. So red side has a neighbor to its immediate left. The blue one instant has a neighbor to its right. So red and blue sides are equivalent and have the same appearance. So red and blue sides are not equivalent. If you see on 180-degree side. So some can be obtained by rotating 180-degree. Next, let's go ahead with the previous lattice and the 14th structure formed by using the 7 previous lattice. So there are only 7 different shapes of unit cell which can be stacked together to completely fill all space. We are talking about here 3 dimensions without overlapping. So this gives the 7 crystal structure in which all crystal structure can be classified. So what are those 7 crystal structure? As you can see on your screen, the first one is cubic crystal system. So we are first will see this is the one out of the 7th one, that crystal lattice we are discussing, and the simple crystal body centered and face centered. These are the 3 out of the 14 we will be discussing. So the second one, hexagonal crystal system, which is having primitive or simple cubic structure in it. And let's go for the triclinic crystal structure, which is again having simple cubic structure. Monoclinic are satisfying simple cubic and base centered. Only 2 type of crystal structures are satisfied by monoclinic, whereas orthorhombic are having a difference in that. Orthorhombic crystal system is satisfying all 4 phases, that is simple, base, body centered and end centered. So this is satisfying all 4 different type of shapes. Tetragonal crystal system, as you can see, it's having only 2 type in it, that is simple cubic system and base body center system. Whereas trigonal or sometimes also called as rhombohedral. So rhombohedral crystal system is having a simple cubic structure in it. So you might be finding difficulty to remember all these type of 7 crystal shapes and the classification based on 7 structures. Sorry, 14 structures. So I'll give you a small tip to remember. Let's go ahead with the next slide to have a look over that. So here the trick to remember the structures, that is crystal structure, what all we are going to include here. So first we are taking serial number, the second one will be taking crystal structure, third one will be taking edge length, that is when we are taking 3 coordinate axes along XYZ, we will be calling them along with ABC. So that edge length will be taking as ABC, interfacial angles we are taking as alpha, beta, gamma, and then we'll be checking the shape of unit cell, because all these are part of unit cell and the example relevant to that. So how we are going to remember? So let us take, as you can see in the tabular form, first is cubic, so we'll take C into consideration. Second is tetragonal, we'll go for T. Third one is orthorhombic, we'll go for O. Fourth one is rhombohedral, we'll go for R. Then we'll go for hexagonal, monoclinic and triclinic. So the trick to remember, I'll give you in Hindi because it's quite obvious. Most of you can relate it. So how we are going to remember that? So there's something called as CT, that is visual, we'll call CT in Hindi. So CT or O from the orthorhombic, R is from rhombohedral. So CT और मारी तो हेक्सागोनल शेप से होकर मोनोक्लिनिक जाना पड़ेगा, दैट इज एक क्लिनिक को जाना पड़ेगा, फिर 3 क्लिनिक को जाओगे तभी भी तुम्हारा इलाज नहीं हो पाएगा. आई रिपीट वंस अगेन, सीटी और मारी तो हेक्सागोनल शेप से होके एक क्लिनिक, जिसको हम मोनोक्लिनिक बोलेंगे, एक क्लिनिक जाना पड़ेगा, फिर ट्राई क्लिनिक, तीन क्लिनिक जाना पड़ेगा, फिर भी तुम्हारा इलाज नहीं हो पाएगा. इफ यू रिमेंबर इन दिस order, it will be easy for you to recollect how the order and the arrangement. So let's go ahead with Agilent. So again, the same trick I'll give you to remember. First, make cubic all H length A is equal to B is equal to C. Then go for cancellation of the last one. That is A is equal to B, not equal to C. Then we'll cancel everything. That is A is not equal, B is not equal to C. Again, we'll repeat this three arrangement of edge length for the next three. That is, for rhombohedral, we'll go for A is equal to B is equal to C. Hexagonal will call as A is equal to B is not equal to C. Monoclinic will call A is not equal to B is not equal to C. And the last one will repeat once again for triclinic, because we are calling as a single clinic and triclinic, right? So that's the reason. Again, we will be giving the edge length as A is not equal to B is not equal to C. So how we are going to remember the interfacial angles? So remember first three, we will be keeping all alpha, beta, gamma is equal to 90 degree. So in the first cubic, you can see alpha is equal to beta is equal to gamma is equal to 90 degree. Then we'll go for the second one, tetragonal. Again, the same thing, alpha is equal to beta is equal to gamma 90 degree. And the third one, alpha is equal to beta is equal to gamma 90 degree. After successfully writing for the first three, what we'll do for the rhombohedral, fourth one, we'll cancel the degree part where it is showing not equal. So we'll say that alpha is equal to beta is equal to gamma is not equal to 90 degree. Then we'll go for hexagonal. In hexagonal, we'll say that alpha is equal to beta is equal to 90 degree and gamma is equal to 120 degree. Let's go for monoclinic. Alpha is equal to gamma, which is 90 degree, and beta is not equal to 90 degree, right? Then triclinic, as we said, we are cancelling all three in the edge length. The same thing will do for interfacial. Alpha is not equal to beta, is not equal to gamma, is not equal to 90 degree. The shape of the unit cell, if you try to check, you can check the first one cubic will be having the simple cubic structure, and the example we will be taking as sodium chloride. Next, tetragonal. If you check for tetragonal, we will be having a structure rectangular based prism one. What type of structure we will be going? Rectangular based, right, prism. So, and the example we will be taking as nickel sulfate. Then we'll go for the orthorhombic, that is rectangular base right prism, and we'll be taking the example as potassium nitrate, that is KNO4. Then go for the rhombohedral, and the structure is rhombohedron only. And the example will take as CaSO4. So next we'll go for hexagonal, that is rhombo based right prism. Then we'll be having the example as SiO2. So we are calling SiO2 as silicon oxide. The another example we can take as AgI, that is silver iodide. Or we'll go for the next one, monoclinic. That shape is parallelogram based right prism. And the example we are taking as Na2SO4, that is sodium sulfate. The last but not the least about crystal structure, the triclinic, and the shape is parallelogram based skew prism. And the example we'll be taking as copper sulfate, CuSO4. So let us see in the next slide how they exactly look like, the 7 crystal structure into 14 Bravais form. So you can see here, the first one, P is primitive, the second I is body centered, F is face centered, and C we are calling as side centered one. So to remember this structure, how many structure is present in which type of form, We'll take the similar example of CT or Mari, and then we'll write all the name of 7 crystal structure. Then we'll go for the order. First 3, second 2, third one 4, and the second last one will mark 1 for the end center. So how we are going to do? 3 in first I said. That is, we'll be having primitive or simple cubic, then we'll be having body center, and then we'll be having face center. So 3 form is there. The next one primitive, and we'll be having body center. Third one primitive, body center, face center, and end or side center. Then hexagonal will be having only primitive, trigonal will be having primitive, monoclinic as said, second last one will be having two structure. It is primitive and the end center or side center. The last one triclinic. So let us see how we are going to make a trick to remember 3, 2, 4. So this is 3. As you can see, the 3 are marked, take the 1, and the last end or side center are the crossed one. Second one, 2. So for all type of crystal structure, primitive or cubic simple crystal structure will be satisfied. So first column will be marked for everyone, and then accordingly to 3, 2, 4 trait will go for 3, then 2, then 4, and the last one, second last one will mark 1 in side end. The remaining all will cancel. Now let's give a count. How many structure we got from the seventh one? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. So these are the 14 shapes we have found with the previous one. So to have more understanding about that, I will play a small video clip for you people so that the shapes can be easily understood by you all. Let's see here. 1 minute. Let me just check this out. All right. So let's go ahead with the video now. So 7 crystal structure in the 14 previous lattice. You can see here. That is simple cubic structure. This one is for body centered because all 8 sides will be having the molecules in the center one, and the face center you will be having all 8 corner and all face left, right, front, back, up, down. So just have a look over the different shapes. That is hexagonal for you. I hope that slides of video might have helped you to understand more about the crystal structures. So now let's go ahead with the next topic, that is elements of symmetry. So this element of symmetry, when we are going to discuss, we'll say that any physical operations that change the position of lattice point of a crystal in such a way that they are exactly at the same place before and after. Such operation is described as symmetry. So the symmetry of elements are classified as follows. The first one will be calling as rotational symmetry or the axis of symmetry very commonly. The second one will be calling plane of symmetry, and the third one will be calling center of symmetry. So let's go ahead by checking one by one what is rotation or axis, what is plane of symmetry, and the other one, the last one, the center of symmetry. I hope you people are able to follow. So let's go ahead with the first topic, that is axis of symmetry. So it is an imaginary straight line basically about which if a crystal is rotated, it will present the same appearance more than one during the complete revolution. As you can see here on the diagram screen, we are taking a simple cubic and we are drawing a straight edge line and imagining this point will give us the axis of symmetry by taking the rotation, a complete rotation to be precise. For example, consider the rotation of a cube along y dash. So let us go ahead by giving the notation these two lines, dotted lines, as y and y dash in both the diagram. Okay. So this y and y dash are arranged at 90 degree. In this case, the cube has four identical positions in one complete rotation. Therefore, the crystal has fourfold axis of symmetry. So in general, what we'll do, if rotation through an angle, that is if we are taking 360 degree and the number of rotation of axis we are taking as small n, then we'll go for 360 degree divided by n, then we'll get the axis. So about an axis bringing the crystal figure into an identical position, then the axis is called as n-fold axis of symmetry. Is it clear with you all? If you have any doubt, you can come back to me after the session. Now, let's go ahead with plane of symmetry. So in plane of symmetry, what we are doing, we are taking a cube and we are dividing them into two equal halves in such a way that they will be a mirror image. As you can see here, the first one, we are dividing the plane symmetry into two equal halves. So the first will become a mirror image of the second half, left and right, front and back. So diagonal you can see. So these are the three possible arrangement for the middle, and these are the six possible arrangement for the diagonal one. So how we are going to describe this? So we'll say that the planes which cut a crystal into two halves so that each half is a mirror image of other half. Just now I said, we'll say that they'll cut into two halves and each half is becoming mirror of other half. Then the plane is known as plane of symmetry. What we are calling, if they are cutting into two equal halves and becoming a mirror of each other, then we will be calling as plane of symmetry. So the figure shows here, as you can see in the first three, the figure shows here a plane parallel to the top and bottom of the cube, dividing the cube into two halves, as you can see. So three such planes can easily be, these three you can see can easily be constructed, each parallel to different faces of the cube. So you can see up, down, left, right, front, back. Okay, these are the three possible arrangement. Then the figure shows a diagonal plane. You can see here the six here, the next six. The figure shows a diagonal plane passing through diagonally opposite parallel to all the edges. So six such diagonal plane of symmetry are possible, right? We can see here this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So here the line here represent the shaded one only. Since we are seeing the face, that's the reason we are not able to see the yellow color for this particular block. So there are combinedly six such diagonal plane of symmetry. Therefore, for a cube system, there are combined nine plane of symmetry. Like if you count all six from the diagonal and half equally half from the normal plane faces, three. So all put together will get 9 1. So in a cube crystal, there exists only two way of dividing the crystal into two mirror images. So plane of symmetry will help us understand that it can only divide the cube into two halves, either up, down, left, right, front, back, diagonal. So it will help only to divide the two half and get the mirror image. Let's go ahead with the next one. That is center of symmetry. To understand more about center of symmetry, we will be taking the coordinate axis x, y, z direction, and we are drawing a cube there by taking a crystal lattice point. As you can see in the diagram with the cursor I'm showing here, point in the center. So how? So it is another imaginary point with the crystal or within the crystal actually, because we are considering this as a crystal structure. So within the crystal, that any line drawn through it intersect the surface of the crystal at equal distance, right? In both the direction, if you see in this equal distance, this equal distance, right? So a crystal always possesses only one center of symmetry that you can clearly see here. The total number of planes, axes, and center of symmetry possessed by a crystal are termed as element of symmetry. So we are calling the axis, plane, and center of symmetry are combinedly making an element or elementary symmetry. So a cube crystal possesses a total of 23 elements of symmetry, whereas plane of symmetry is 3 plus 6 that we have seen in the previous diagram, which is equal to 9. And the axis of symmetry have the possibilities 3 plus 4 plus 6 that we'll be calling as total 13, whereas center of symmetry is only 1. Hope this is clear with you all. Let's go ahead with next slide. So here we will be checking the three common crystal structure, which is very easily found. So what are the three common crystal structure we are having here? Simple cubic, where all the atom or the molecules are aligned at the corners. Only corners will find the molecules. Whereas body centered, you'll find all the atom or the molecules or ions are aligned at the edges, beside giving one more additional at the center one. And in face center, we'll be having 8 corners. All 8 corners will be having 8 molecules, which is shown in red color. And the face center. Face center we are calling as left, right, up, down, front, back. So these 6 blue color. So 6 will be added in the faces of the cube. So let's go and check in detail by next slides. So what is simple cubic structure? As seen in the previous slide, there is one lattice point at each of the corner, right? This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So there are 8 points in each corner. So the share of each lattice point to the cubic lattice is 1/8. How 1/8 means? Each point is sharing with the 3 neighboring sides. So when we are cutting them and taking the 1/8 of that, we will be getting only 1 unit cell. So with the help of the next slide and the video, I'll be explaining you more in detail. So let's go ahead with the number of lattice point in unit cell. It's taken as 1/8. That is 1/8 of each side into 8, because we are having 8 corner. So 8 will get cancelled. We'll get the number of lattice point in cube as 1. So thus there is only one lattice point in unit cell. Let's see the next one. There is body centered structure. There is one lattice point at each of the corner. As we can see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So each of the corner, 1 means 8. So this is 8 here, and we are taking 1/8 of each corner plus 1, because one molecule is present, or crystal point, lattice point is present in center. So this 8 will cancel. 1 plus 1 is 2. And the only lattice point in unit cell we can find as 2. The third one, face-centered crystal structure. In face-centered crystal structure, again, we'll be having 8 lattice point on each of 8 corner and 1 lattice point on each of the faces, 6 faces. So 6 plus this 8. So how we are going to calculate the lattice point concerned with unit cell is 8 into 1/8 There is 8 corner, 8 we are having, and 1/8 of each we are taking when we are taking the lattice point, and plus 6 faces we are having, and when we are taking the lattice point, the face will be cut into half. That's the reason we will be taking half, 6 into half. So when we take 3 ones, 3 3 8 and 8, so 3 plus 1 is 4. So thus we will be getting, we have 4 lattice point in a unit cell. Let's see how those lattice points are forming here. Let me play this for you people. So we are going to check the lattice structure, simple cubic lattice.
The simple cubic lattice is the simplest lattice structure and consists of 8 atoms at the 8 corners of the cube. In the ball and stick model shown here, the distances between the atoms are greatly exaggerated. In actuality, the atoms are packed much more closely together and touch somewhere. A more realistic model of this structure is the space-filling model. Here, the size of the atoms is in correct proportion to the cell. The space-filling model demonstrates that in the case of the simple cubic lattice, the atoms touch along the edge of the cell. In the model shown here, each atom touches 3 others along the 3 edges of the cell. We can generate the unit cell of the simple cubic lattice by including only those portions of the atom that appear inside the cell boundaries. In the case of the simple cubic cell, each atom lies 1/8 inside the cell. Since there are 8 of these fractional atoms, there is the equivalent of 1 atom inside the unit cell. The body-centered cubic lattice contains the same 8 vertex atoms as the simple cubic lattice, but with 1 body atom in the center of the cell. This simple change results in a structure that is completely different from the simple cubic lattice. Due to the atom at the center of the cell, the vertex atoms no longer touch along an edge of the cell in the space-filling model. Instead, each of the vertex atoms touches the center atom. The atoms are said to touch along the cube diagonal of the cell, which connects opposite corners of the cube. The unit cell for the body-centered cubic cell is shown here. In addition to the 8 vertex atoms, the cell contains 1 body atom that lies entirely inside the cell. This gives the equivalent of 2 atoms inside the cell. The face-centered cubic lattice contains the same 8 vertex atoms as the simple cubic and body-centered cubic lattices, but also contains 6 atoms located in 6 faces of the cell. In a space-filling model of the face-centered cubic unit cell, the atoms touch along the side diagonal of the cell. Each face atom touches the 4 vertex atoms that define the face of the cell. The unit cell of the face-centered cubic cell is shown here. The unit cell contains the same 8 vertex atoms as the simple cubic and body-centered cubic structure, each 1/8 inside the cell. The 6 face atoms each lie 1/2 inside the cell. Then combined with the vertex atoms, this gives the equivalent of 4 atoms inside the cell. The term coordination number refers to the number of atoms touched by a given atom inside a lattice structure. We will consider the coordination number of the simple cubic lattice first. We have already seen that in the simple cubic lattice, the atoms touch along an edge of the cell. In a single unit cell, 1 vertex atom touches 3 other atoms along 3 edges of the cell. To see the remaining atoms, we must look outside a single cell. The same atom also touches 3 other atoms along the edges of 3 other cells for a coordination number of 6. So coordination number of the body-centered cubic cell is more obvious. Any body atom touches 8 vertex atoms for a coordination number of 8. The coordination number for a particular structure is the same regardless of which atom is chosen. Therefore, we can also say that each vertex atom is surrounded by 8 body atoms, again giving a coordination number of 8. Last, we will demonstrate the coordination number of the face-centered cubic cell. Recall that in the face-centered cube, the atoms touch along the side diagonal of the cell. Let us first consider the coordination number of the face atom. Recall that a face atom touches the 4 vertex atoms that define the face. Each face atom also touches 8 other face atoms, 4 above and 4 below, for a total coordination number of 12. Now let us consider the coordination number of the vertex atom. Each vertex atom touches 4 face atoms within the same plane, 4 face atoms below and 4 face atoms above, again giving a coordination number of 12. In addition to the 3 cubic structures previously discussed, there are 2 close-packed structures. Close-packed structures consist of close-packed layers of atoms within which each atom is surrounded by 6 others. The difference between the 2 close-packed structures lies with the way in which these layers are stacked. In no case do 2 close-packed layers lie on top of one another. Instead, each atom sits in a dimple formed by 3 atoms in each layer. We will use color to represent the layers. Here, each blue atom sits in a dimple formed by 3 green atoms in each layer. Imagine that the second layer of green atoms is added so that it is equivalent to the first layer of green atoms. Then, a second layer of blue atoms is added that is equivalent to the first layer of blue atoms. This alternating layering of close-packed layers generates a structure that is known as the hexagonal close-packed structure.
I hope this slide might have helped you to understand more about the crystal structure, how they are getting divided. When I said 1/8 of a corner, and when I said half of the faces, and when I said the center one will be counted as one. So let's go ahead with the next few definitions which regards help us to understand more crystal structures. The first one will be checking with the number of atoms per unit cell. So the total number of atoms present in a unit cell is known as number of atom per unit cell. So we are saying simple by taking a unit cell. So if we say that there are 4 points in unit cell, the cross one. So those 4 points we are calling as the total number of atoms present in unit cell. So the atomic radius is expressed in terms of edges length that we have seen in the 7 crystal structure that we have used A is equal to B is equal to C. Those are nothing but the atomic radius expressions in terms of edge length of a cubic unit cell. So the next one is atomic packing factor APF. So the atomic packing factor is a ratio of volume occupied by the atom or molecules in unit cell to the total volume of the unit cell. And the last definition we'll check about coordination number. Just now we have been through with the slide. Uh, the coordination number is defined as number of equidistant neighbors. As you have seen green and blue one, the same thing. The equidistance around an atom or lattice point in the crystal. Hope this point is clear with you all. If you have any doubt, you can come back to me. Next, we'll go ahead with unit cell. So unit cell is the smallest geometric figure. Why we are calling smallest geometric figure? I'll explain you. This repetition of which in the 3 dimension will give the actual crystal structure. So as you can see here, the small one. This is one small geometrical figure for us. And the repetition, this starting point, capital A, let us assume, capital B, capital C, capital D, and again capital A. So this repetition of which in the 3 dimension will give the actual crystal structure. Then the unit cell may be defined as the smallest fundamental elementary pattern of minimum of atom which represent fully all the characteristic of crystals. That's the reason we are also saying that the smallest component of the crystal, such as group of atom, ions, or molecules, can be any atom, ion, or molecules, which one sagged together, which one sagged together with pure translational repetition reproduced the whole crystal. So this is what we are saying, the repetition reproduce the whole crystal. So this is one small unit cell. So one point, this is one molecule or atom, another, third, fourth. The combination of these four, there is no molecule present in the center. Combination of these four is making one unit cell. So this is another unit cell. This is another one. This is another one. This is another one. As you can see, we can make the possible unit cell. Right. So we all the S blocks here are nothing but the one unit cell. This is the schematic explanation for two-dimensional crystals. The smallest component of the crystal group of atom ion molecule which when sat together with pure translation repetition produce the whole crystal. So what we are saying, the choice of unit cell is not unique here. So here if I see or show you this one part is unit cell. This is the diagonal one in a unit cell. This is unit cell. This is unit cell. Any four connection blocks can be unit cell, but the molecule or ion cannot present within the unit cell block. If it is, then it is not a unit cell. Let's take the example. Two-dimensional unit cell example, that is sodium chloride. So we are calling one molecule as sodium, the second one as chloride. So we define lattice point, right? In the previous topic we discussed, these are the point with identical environment. So as we can find the identical environment. So choice is arbitrary. The lattice point need not be atom, right? But unit cell size should always be same. So if we are taking one unit cell for this one, the second one should also be the same one. It cannot be between these four. If it is one like this, the second should also cover like this. So this is another illustration. There, here you can find this is also a unit cell. It does not matter if you start from sodium atom or chloride atom. With any, you can start. So, or if you don't start from the atom also, you can still call it as unit cell because we will be covering the part. So this is not a unit cell even though they are all the same because empty spaces in between are not allowed like this. So in two-dimensional, if we see, this will call as unit cell. But if we go for three-dimensional, we cannot call as unit cell because the molecules are present inside it. So this is another illustration in three-dimensional way how the unit cell blocks will be shown. This is one unit cell block, second, this is another one, this is another one. This. So all these are unit cell blocks. So unit cell are classified as primitive and conventional or non-primitive. So what are those? So primitive are the single lattice point per cell. So you can see single, 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 right? Smallest area in two-dimensional or smallest volume in three-dimensional, simple cubic if we go for. When it comes for the non-primitive or conventional, we'll say that more than one lattice point per cell. So this is one and you'll be having one more in the center part. So integral multiple of the area of primitive cell can be taken here. So you'll be having edges in the center, in the body side, tail side. So this will make you understand these are not the primitive. They are from the conventional or non-primitive size. So the primitive unit cell must have only one lattice point. There can be different choices for lattice vector, but the volume of these primitive cell are the same. So if you see, these are the same. This is primitive lattice point because this is taken from the space and the point here, and this connecting all 4 points. This is taken from this space, but it's going for two lattice unit point, which cannot be generally unit cell. So that's the reason we are calling as non-primitive unit cell. And this is another example. let's see how this is happening with the help of another video.
If you could travel within a crystalline solid, you would see the particles, atoms, ions, or molecules arranged in a regular array. Here, the spaces are greatly exaggerated, but in reality, the particles are packed close together. The unit cell of a crystal structure is the smallest portion that defines the structure. Stacking unit cells next to each other in all three directions gives the structure. Many elements and simple compounds have unit cells from the cubic crystal system. Let's examine the three types of cubic unit cells. All cubic unit cells have particles at the corners of a cube. The simple or primitive cubic unit cell has particles at the corners only. In reality, the particles lie as close to each other as possible. Note that the particles touch along the cube edges, but not along a diagonal in the face or along a diagonal through the body. By slicing away parts that belong to neighboring unit cells, we see that the
I will look
actual
closely.
unit cell
As
consists
1/8
of
pattern we will be
portions
discussing,
of
you
the
can check
particles.
here.
When the cells pack next to each other, in all three dimensions, we obtain the crystal. If we fade the others out, you can see the original group of 8 particles within the array and the unit cell within that group. We find the number of particles in one unit cell by combining all the particles portions. In the simple cubic unit cell,
You can
8
see here
corners,
these
each
1/8
of
are
which is
combining together
1/8
and
of a
making one
particle,
unit cell.
combined to give 1 particle. A key feature of a crystal structure is its coordination, the number of the nearest neighbors surrounding each particle. In a simple cubic array, any given particle has a neighboring particle above, below, to the right, to the left, in front, and in back of it for a total of 6 nearest neighbors. The body-centered cubic unit cell has a particle at each corner and one in the center, which is colored pink to make it easier to see. With full-size spheres, you can see that the particles don't touch along the edges of the cube, but each corner particle does touch the one in the center. The actual unit cell consists of portions of the corner particles and the whole one in the center. 8/8 give 1 particle, and the one in the center gives another for a total of 2 particles. In this tiny portion of a body-centered cubic array, you can see that any given particle has 4 nearest neighbors above and 4 below for a total of 8 nearest neighbors. The face-centered cubic unit cell has a particle at each corner and in each face, which are colored yellow here, but none in the center. The corner particles don't touch each other, but each corner does touch a particle in the face, and those in the faces touch each other as well. The actual unit cell consists of portions of particles at the corners and in the faces. 8/8 at the corners gives 1 particle, and half a particle in each of 6 faces gives 3 more, for a total of 4 particles. In this tiny portion of a face-centered cubic array, notice that a given particle has 4 nearest neighbors around it, 4 more above and 4 more below for a total of 12 nearest neighbors. Stacking spheres shows how the 3 cubic unit cells arise. Arrange a layer of spheres in horizontal and vertical rows. Note the large diamond-shaped space among the particles. Placing the next layer directly over the first gives a structure based on the simple cubic unit cell. Those larger spaces mean an inefficient use of space. In fact, only 52% of the available volume is actually occupied by spheres. Because of this inefficiency, the simple cubic unit cell is seen rarely in nature. A more efficient stacking occurs if we place the second layer over the spaces formed by the first layer, and the third layer over the spaces formed by the second. That simple change leads to 68% of the available volume occupied by the spheres and a structure based on the body-centered cubic unit cell. Many metals, including all the alkali metals, adopt this arrangement. For the most efficient stacking, shift every other row in the first layer so the large diamond-shaped spaces become smaller triangular spaces, and place the second layer over them. Then the third layer goes over the holes visible through the first and second layers. In this arrangement, called cubic closest packing, spheres occupy 74% of the volume. Note that it is based on the face-centered cubic unit cell. Many elements, covalent compounds, and as you'll see in the next two examples, ionic compounds adopt cubic closest packing. Sodium chloride adopts the sodium chloride or rock salt structure, as do many other alkali, halides, alkaline earth oxides and sulfides, and other ionic compounds. Picture separate face-centered cubic arrays of chloride ions and sodium ions as they approach and interpenetrate each other. The smaller sodium ions fit in the holes between the larger chloride ions and the NaCl unit cell. Zinc sulfide adopts the zinc blend structure, as do the copper 1 halides and